Oh, good morning. Good morning,
looking
Roland.
good.
Thank you very much. But I'm worried because of what's okay. It's a Friday, man. Yeah, it's a let go Friday. Yeah.
You look good.
After all is said, right?
So you look good, though.
I'm going to charge you for sexual harassment if you don't look right in the newspapers and you keep staring. Yeah, thank you.
Fred Potiphar, our lead director says he agrees.
I have lots of witnesses, both those who are physically here and those who are watching us at home.
Salifu Combat, good morning to you. My latest is Alhaji Asembe, Kofi Asembe.
I haven't said you could do that, but
good morning to you.
Good morning to everybody who's tuned in right now. If you missed the AM news, you've made it in good time for the newspapers. I'll do the Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times, and the Daily Statesman newspaper. And Roland will do
the rest.
Let's start with the Daily
Graphic
what it means? Newspaper. I don't know, whatever it means. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the graphic is a story that I worry about. It says SSNIT lump sum ends 2019. That's the banner headline. It says workers who turn 60 years from January 1, 2020 will no longer receive lump sum payment from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust under PNDC Law 247. Such contributors will now have to turn to the fund managers of their second-tier contribution for lump sums. However, the Director General of SSNIT, Dr. John Ofori Tenkrang, who disclosed this at a breakfast meeting with some employers in Accra yesterday, said in addition to the lump sum from the second tier, SSNIT will pay a lump sum known as past credit, accruing from earlier contributions by such workers before the coming into force of which law is the National Pensions Act 2008, which introduced the tier 2. So here's what we're going to do to help all of us. Today is a Friday. We'll try and get a good understanding of this.
Monday.
And then on Monday, we'll break it down. What does it really mean? Because 2020 is just around the corner. Decision time, though, for GFA top post. Big winners, casualties at ESCO election. But one man who made it is on the front page, Mr. Randy Abbey. So 11 will sit on that executive council, including Randy Abbey.
And you know Randy Abbey, his campaign chairman was our own Robert Coleman, chief executive.
Oh, was it?
Of Wembley Sports Construction Company Limited. Robert Coleman, Onukpa, Teten.
So congratulations to the team. What does this really mean to Ghana football? Because we know why we are here. We know why it's a crucial time today to find a replacement for Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Exactly.
Because of that undercover investigation by Anas Aremeyao Anas. But if we get a new president, what would that mean? Does it mean that all our troubles have
Well, we need
stopped?
somebody who has laid out a proper vision that could be well implemented.
So we have a conversation on that here on the AM show, fully ahead of that. The election itself is going to start from 9 a.m. People can't say clearly who the favorite are.
I'm rooting for Ket Okreku. And
Okay.
if Ket doesn't get it, then Fred Papo.
I have heard that Fred is actually very good. Like, he knows he can transform Ghana football.
Yes, he could.
I have heard
he
that
could, but I'm thinking Ket will take a certain generation along.
There are people who are also rooting for younger people because, you know. But I actually have no idea what they're all capable of doing individually, what it would mean for Ghana football. But we won the Premier League back. I won the league back. No normalization.
I want grassroots football to be strengthened and back.
All right, let's do the rest of the stories. Attracting health personnel to remote areas. Juicy incentives in the offing. What does that really mean? All right, also, families of tardy girls fail to secure bones. And we're still here. We actually don't know how this is properly being coordinated. So the families traveled from Takoradi to Accra yesterday, and they were allowed to see the skeletons. What is alleged to be the remains of these girls? And 3 of the families say they don't believe it. But I don't know. Can we have independent, right? Like, the government's pathologist or whatever it is, the
forensic expert, the DNA
experts from two sides. So we have one from the states, as in from the police, and then we've got independent ones all looking at it.
Is it because the Ghanaian population seem to disbelieve what the police told us? Because I think I will not take a cue from your word. You said allegedly. And I'm thinking if it's coming from the police, which is the normal, the required state authority to give us that sort of information, then it doesn't become allegedly again. But I think that your allegedly also comes in because it looks like the police version seems to be in doubt. So then
the families don't believe that version.
Well, not only the families, actually respective members of our society
sometimes
don't
when people say
think
things,
that the police utterances,
authorities will have to listen, because when this thing started, the conversation was, let the families be involved in what you're doing. Exactly. This thing wouldn't have cropped up.
And then the things are the communication hasn't been right. Apart from not having the right coordination and communication with the families when the investigations were taking place, it's also the utterances or the official comment that had been coming from leading police officers who were supposed to be in charge of institutions that were at the helm of this investigation. It brought a lot of doubt as to how credible we can accept information coming from them. And I think it's also brought into question the ability for us as citizens to be able to trust institutions such as the police, who are supposed to give us foremost information on related issues such as this. At the end of the day, we should know that information travels around. People have gotten better educated and knowledgeable on things that institutions are supposed to do. And so when the information coming there is not trustworthy, then they also would find means of having some independent verifications. And I believe that is why the families
want to think that to date we haven't had any administrative sanctions, whatever, whether internal investigations, nothing. Because nothing went wrong.
Exactly.
Like nothing went wrong.
Because you see, the apparatus of the world or the institutions of the world or science has made it available for these families to be able to independently verify whether the remains, as said by the police, of these girls are really the remains.
To think that
so they can take it anywhere, even right here in Ghana.
But Roland, to think that the families have gone through what they've gone through and they are still going through it, as a state, we should have funded that independent that second look at the bones to confirm.
And if you ask me,
we should fund it.
And if you ask me, curiously, I would be interested to get to know whether this really are the bones.
Independent,
are the remains.
I think Ghanaians should add their voices to this. Let it be a national conversation, because it's happened to some other family. It could be your family tomorrow, and you may not have the means to independently verify. The family should have been involved from day one.
Exactly.
And this could have been avoided. Let's do this quick one on the back page of the Daily Graphic. It says the government has released 25 million Ghana cedis towards the 2020 population and housing census scheduled for March 2020. The amount is part of a 45 million allocated in the 2019 budget, which has been approved by the Ministry of Finance for the preparatory phase of the census. The Ghanaian Times next. Ghana-Russia must increase trade investment cooperation, words of President Akufo-Addo. That's President Akufo-Addo and the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, on the front page of the paper. Rawlings applauds $1 million penalty against Fission Company. Mixed reaction greets termination of PDS ECG agreements. GFA elects president today. Randy Abe, others elected as ESCO members. GRA chases tax defaulters, closes down 2 companies for non-payments of 19.8 million payee and VAT. If only GRA would enforce, we will make so much money, we don't have to travel hours. That's it. Center spread, Olam continues social infrastructure projects to support cocoa communities. And on the back page of the paper, who gets the nod in today's FA presidency? Well, it's the big question. There's Amanda Clinton, there's Georgia Freye, George Ankama Mensah, Kets Okreku, Fred Papo, and Nanayao Ponsa. Who would it be? I guess we will know. It's just a matter of time, just a little time.
What till the
120 people voting. 120, Charlie. 120. We are at the mercy of
only 120 people.
Yeah. The Daily Statesman newspaper, and somebody was advocating that there shouldn't be phones. They shouldn't carry phones to vote, so that people won't take pictures of who they voted for and then later go and demand to take money because they voted for that person. I thought, oh, interesting.
So phones won't be taken to...
Well, the person was asking, this was like a sports presenter saying that.
But so why would they go and demand? But I'm thinking that if you have a certain population size, and this sample is the electoral delegates, okay, and you have a population size of 120, you should be able to communicate with them and reach a certain verdict. And truthfully, we've had the bigger political election nationally. People go and reach to these same electorates, the delegates, and they don't get voted for.
Yeah, so it's true. Oh, and it was so heartbreaking yesterday when and I didn't actually even follow it much that Evelyn, my friend, couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But there was...
What happened to Rosalie? She also didn't make it.
No, she also, I mean, there was just one person.
For the women's...
Exactly. Okay. And Evelyn, I'm sorry, I think the difference was just one vote. And that will hurt. You're a very hard-working person. I really wanted you to be in that position. But, yeah. All right, the Daily Statesman newspaper, front page of the Statesman. Energy giants, Ganvo offers $100 million to settle corruption case. Apple West chiefs call for LPG price reduction to encourage patronage. Let's focus more on trade, investment. These are just words, right? Are they? President Akufo-Addo advocates shift in Ghana-Russia relations. The work is from home. The work is from home. It is from home. How much are we able to export? That's where the work is. It's not in words.
And to be able to export the how much.
Exactly.
It has to be fit for purpose.
Yes.
You meet the quality
you
standards.
You have to meet the standard.
So, and then the competitive standards as
and
well.
Then we need the state support. Because we know it's mainly private people who are into trade and businesses like this. And they need support.
And as you touch on this, you get to find that it's been now established that by 2025, 2030, Africa, which already has some of the youngest population, is going to have the population at an income level that will be able to improve purchases. And so they're going to be very instrumental in consumption. And if you take the American population, for example, it's those who are able to move money around, make purchases, consumers. They ensure that the American businesses grow. And so that is why we have the Japanese, the Chinese, the rest of the ASEANs or the rest of the Asian countries all coming towards us. And that is why America is even alarmed with its relationship with China, etc. And that is why even Russia has come in at this point, because they also want to have a chunk of it. At the end of the day, it's a good question you've asked. How have we prepared ourselves? The Chinese have come with the Belt and Road Initiative. They are sponsoring or giving us the loans in the various developing countries in Africa for us to build the railways and the ports, etc. It's for good reason. They want to make sure that the resources get to their destinations of manufacturing, and they bring those goods back to us. They are even entering the retail sector. You know, we have China malls here. They used to have middle people who will go to China and say, please manufacture it in such a way that the textile will look like our own GTP. Now they have broken the chain, or are breaking the chain, where there will not be middlemen. So go and look at the prices in the China mall.
Yeah, I've been there once. Yeah.
And you look at the prices and you say, sometimes achacha or some things that we took for granted that we think was artisanal, they are just adding a bit of quality in the packaging. And it's becoming a dining table cloth. It's becoming a doormat.
So we open the gates.
Yeah.
And we are enticed to open it. We only say in words, oh, it's investment, it's trade that will get us there, but we're not doing anything really. And they get the opportunity because our standard is not their standard. No. Their standard is usually higher.
Exactly.
So they are able to easily come into our country. Yeah. So it's not about talk. I mean, it's about we.
So we all do know what the problems are.
If we believe in trade and investment, we have to do. Doing is the thing, is not talking it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm done with my papers.
Okay, so let me just quickly run through what I have. I have the Dispatch, has on the front page, Akufo-Addo to Putin. Our yearly trade must exceed 20 billion US dollars. And more on GFA presidential race. We're tackling that on the show today. The Daily Dispatch also has on the front page MPA's CRM, and I'm thinking it is this cylinder recirculation model. Tor Riches Upper West region. We brought you the story as well. Hassan Tampoli inserted in the front page story there. JDM's message to Ghanaians: I have learned useful lessons. Western North Pressure Group also petitions Akufo-Addo. Has an inserted picture of Colonel retired Anthony Eduhene, president of apparently the Western North Solidarity Movement. We have the Informer. The Informer has on the front page, I feel your suffering. As he inaugurates 21... Okay, Mahama addresses nation and says, I feel your suffering. That's the Informer newspaper. As he inaugurates 21-member NDC Manifesto Committee, aborted PDA's ECG deal was deliberately a ploy. We're talking about the Informer newspaper. Sorry that it's not on your screens now. And then we also have to pave way for create, loot, and share. We also do have Kufuor speaks up on LGBT. Men can't give birth. Women can't impregnate. As the former president advocates adherence to traditional African value system. Accreditation board angry at UEWVC over feet dragging in the matter of lecturers' qualification. Let's go to the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Has on the front page, Nana seeks mutual economic cooperation with Russia and a handsome handshake with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Our own president, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. Tardy girls' families get access to remains. Ibrahim Bauxite review in December. Fight breaks over PDS. Those are the stories we have. Let's go to the Gold Street business. Work on onshore oil regulatory framework begins. Has an inserted picture of the Minister of Energy, John Peter Amu. Ghana loses 190 million US dollars in US grant over cancelled power contract. Ghana risks petroleum supply crunch. Also on the front page of the Gold Street business. The Ghanaian Observer. The Ghanaian Observer has the main story. Gifting your brother 60% of Ghana's bauxite is state capture. Upon Nkrumah, replies Mahama. Akufo-Addo woos Russia investors. Group hails Akufo-Addo over termination of PDS deal. Okay, those will be the stories we have now. Okay. And then I wanted to look at this one, last one. Okay. The Daily Heritage.
Can I just use a second to say that, you know, when you're talking about the Takoradi girls and the parents, can we call in Natalia just for a minute? Because were they supposed to go and look at the bones and say, yes, we're satisfied? Or were they supposed to go and get it so they can go and bury? You know, you get what I mean.
What did they agree with them? I don't think
I want us to hear. I want us to hear from Natalia.
I think that would be great.
Just for a minute. So please, if you can call Ina for us.
I think that would be great. I think that would be great. This one will be the last one I'm looking at. The Daily Heritage. Daily Heritage has on the front page, Asamoah Gyan to cough up 204,000 Ghana cedis for wife as maintenance for 15 months. The story is on page 3 of the paper, and it says that the divorce and matrimonial division of the Accra High Court, presided over by blah blah blah, has ordered the wife of Black Stars, the former wife, Gifty Gyan, to recover an amount of, we're talking this one, 204,000 Ghana cedis for maintenance.
Why are you reading a thing like you have a similar situation and you are...
No, scandalous. I'm thinking whether if I'm in the predicament, how much I'll pay. I'm not. Actually, because of this, I'm not going to get in a similar situation.
Never say never. Let's do myjoyonline.com.
Jah Rastafari, come down, say the people of the
Let's do myjoyonline.com.
Jah Rastafari.
I have some special dedications that I would also share. If my Joy Online is not ready, I want to say good morning to Mr. Robert Kuhlman who's saying very nice things to me this morning. And I can assure you, it is not sexual harassment. This one says,
so when I say sexual harassment,
Kate Quatting of East Legon, you turned 65 today. Happy birthday to you. It's from Chief Nkrumah to you. There's also one which is happy birthday to Ekuya Efum of Stanbic Bank Spintex from Stephen Kwesi Ohene of Electrical Solutions. You're an angel, my queen. And then the General Secretary of the NPP, it's your 50th birthday today.
Wow.
You look way younger than 50.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
John Buedu. He's 50?
Yeah, he's 50 today.
You're a handsome man. Wow. He looks way younger.
Yeah. All right.
John Buedu, good morning to you. Happy birthday.
Can we do my jawline?
Yeah, it's ready.
Right. Okay. So here we go with my jawline.com. KTI students sell school gates to scrap dealers. We reviewed this yesterday, Charlie. It's very interesting. There are things. Well, I mean, but there are things going on that campus. Somebody needs to put some discipline in the whole. We say this and we laugh, but it's not a laughing matter.
I do.
I mean, for students what kind of authority do they have to go and yank the gates and go and give it to a scrap dealer?
Not at all.
Not because you're a technical student. Law students sue Attorney General and the General Legal Council, the law student who sat the July 2019 Ghana School of Law entrance exam, has sued the Attorney General and the General Legal Council at the High Court. We'll get into some of the matters in a bit. Let's move on. This man needs help for surgery to fix a tumor. We shared the story here on Joy News yesterday. We'll continue to tell you about it. He doesn't look like this. I think he's just 22. He doesn't look like this any longer. It was just a pimple, and now it's all over his face. Unbelievable. PDS deals, sign of unprecedented incompetence or witchcraft. That's Professor Asari writing on his Facebook wall. And yeah, some say it's a jab. It's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they said they shared, but somebody didn't want to give. So, all right. Accra Mall shops. Which one am I reading? Accra Mall shops closed temporarily and protest against high rents. Quite a number of issues that the tenants are raising.
But beyond this, we've already had steps taken by some of the tenants or the retail outlets closing their shops in some of the malls beyond the Accra Mall.
Yeah. Okay.
So for example, I know that Jets, they've closed their shops in Junction Mall, at the Junction Mall, and also at the West Hills Mall. I've been there, and they told me that they are now only having a one-stop shop at Accra Mall.
Okay.
So it means that
if you read the full statement, they talk about the rental,
space,
low petrol number. They also talk about the washrooms, and they talk about the fact that they don't deliberately do promotions to get people to come to the mall to buy.
Which they need
and
to.
Also, the ceiling that caved in and the works that they are doing also kind of scared people away from there. So they actually put down quite a bit. I mean, it's sad that we are at this point, and I think that the landlords should have listened to them and let this
just
come
a problem
out
of
the
the poor maintenance culture
has.
that we all
yeah.
tend to have.
There are a lot more stories on myjoyonline.com that you can go and explore. I don't think we have time to do the rest. I wanted to share with you what's happening in Zimbabwe. So maybe we can go to Zimbabwe. It's a holiday today in Zimbabwe. Why? Thousands of Zimbabweans are expected to take part in a protest march today to call for an end to sanctions imposed by the United States and the European Union, which the government blames for the country's economic problems. So there's a big protest in Zimbabwe today, but that's not the rest of the story, actually. South Africa has banned Zimbabwe's national airline from using its airport due to unpaid fees. So it's a lot of hardships in Zimbabwe. And yeah. Okay, so that's it for the review. You can go to myjoyonline.com where we have a lot more news, that you can read and share as well.
Yeah.
We've got sports. The conversation currently is about the Ghana Football Association. Benedict will be here. We'll touch on bits of pieces of everything that's happening in the world of sports, and then we'll come back and talk about the GFA presidency election proper. But right now, just a quick one. We want to get some little clarification from Natalia Kwanzaa, who's our colleague in the Western region, but she followed families and parents of the girls who have now, we've been told by the police, are dead, to Accra and to the police headquarters. Ina, good morning to you. I know you didn't sit through the meeting, but what was the agreement? Were they supposed to just come and look at the skeletons and go back?
Well, from the police, the petition they sent to them was to come and have a look at the skeleton. But the family is also saying contrary. They said they had gone there to ask for the bones.
To go and bury or to go and do further independent tests?
So they said they had told the police that they wanted to take the bones away to do further tests and then subsequently bury it if it was theirs. Before even they had planned of coming to the police headquarters initially, they wanted to come with 3 coffins so that they would put the bones in. According to the family, they said the police talked them into not bringing the coffin, so they felt they have been shortchanged by the police. They felt disappointed. But the police, on the other hand, also stick to what they were saying, that the petition they had sent to the regional police headquarters was to have a look at the bones.
Okay, wait. So, Ina, hang on. The parents were allowed yesterday because they had petitioned the police. They wanted to look at what they were seeing, and the reason they had arrived at the decision that the girls were dead. So,
yes.
And that's what happened yesterday. But beyond that, they didn't talk about what they would do with the remains.
They spoke to me that the remains, they wanted to take it and then conduct a separate DNA test.
Yeah, which is clear. I'm talking about the police. Do we know what they want to do with it?
Yeah, for the police, they told the family that, one, they have rejected the bones, the DNA test. So if they had rejected it, there is no way they could give it to them. And then 2, this is very crucial. The bones was crucial in the case, since the case was still in court. So they could not just hand it over to them. And if they needed it, they had to go to court for permission on that.
All right. Ina, we'll leave it here. We just wanted this quick clarification. So thank you for coming through with us. This is not the end of this matter. There's a lot of things that we still have to ask. Maybe we can touch base with the police on this.
I think so. And if they want to have an independent verification or investigation, they don't need to have the whole bone. They just sometimes need a chip of the bone. So anyway, so that's where we transition into sports. We have the latest, but we also have a conversation on how the GFA is deciding who they are choosing to become the next president of the Ghana Football Association. And that'll be next. Straight discussions on the GFA matters.